All right, listeners, ready to become Airbnb experts. Today we're going deep on Airbnb fees.
Yeah, those fees everyone sees and kind of just scrolls past.
We're going to break them all down for you so you know what to expect and how to price your listings and how much money you can actually make.
That's the key, right? Making those informed decisions. You gotta understand those fees.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly are Airbnb service fees?
It's basically Airbnb's cut for, running the whole platform, connecting hosts and guests, processing the payments, customer support, all that.
Ah, so like their commission.
Yeah.
But how much are we talking here? A flat fee? A percentage?
It is a percentage, and yeah, both hosts and guests usually pay. So it's kind of like splitting the bill, except Airbnb always chips in a bit too. There's two main structures, the split fee and the host-only fee. The split fee, that's the most common one, especially for people with just one listing.
All right, split fee. Let's split that open and see what's inside. How's it work?
Pretty simple, actually. Airbnb takes 3% from your payout for every booking. Say you list a room for $100 a night. After their 3%, you get about $97 for that night.
Okay, not bad. So what about the guest? What are they paying on top of that 100 bucks?
Guests usually pay a fee that's under 14.2% of the booking. So in our example, the guests might pay like around $114 total.
Wait, so the guest fee can go over 14%?
Yeah, but it can kind of change based on things like the currency they used to pay. If they book in a different currency than what your listing's in, they could end up paying a little more.
Huh. Never thought about the currency thing, so got to be smart about what currency I use as a host, especially if I want to get those international guests.
Exactly. It's one of those little things that can make a difference when someone's deciding to book or not. All right, so let's talk about the other type of fee, the host-only fee.
Host-only fee. Sounds like that might take a bigger bite out of my earnings.
Yeah, it's usually a higher percentage, like between 14% and 16% of the booking, but sometimes it's actually mandatory.
Mandatory. When would I have to use the host-only fee?
Well, think about those traditional places like hotels or service departments. They almost always have to use the host-only structure.
Makes sense, I guess. Keep things consistent. Anything else where it's mandatory?
Yeah, if you use certain property management software to manage your bookings, unless most of your properties are in the US, Canada, Mexico, the Bahamas, Argentina, Uruguay, or Taiwan, you probably need to use host only. Bit of a mouthful, but good to know.
Wow, that's quite the list. So if I'm using that software, I might have more options depending on where my places are. But why would anyone choose to pay the higher host-only fee when they have other options?
Well, think about it from the guest's point of view. They only see one price for their stay. It looks simpler and maybe more appealing, especially for people on a budget.
Ah, so it's like a marketing strategy. Make the price simple, attract more guests.
Exactly. Sometimes those tiny details can make a big difference in someone's decision.
It's kind of crazy how many things can affect those fees. Location software,
Yeah.
even just like the psychology of it all. But I got to ask, are there any other hidden fees I got to worry about? Anything else that could change what I actually make?
You're right to be careful. There are some other things that can sneak up on you, like hosts with super strict cancellation policies might end up paying a higher percentage.
Really? Seems like a strict policy would be good for Airbnb. Why would they charge me more for that?
Think about it from the guest's side. Stricter policies, they can be scary for people. Airbnb wants people to book, and a flexible cancellation policy can make a listing more attractive. Gotta find that balance between protecting yourself and attracting guests.
Makes sense. Got to stay competitive. So any situations where the fees might be lower.
Yeah, definitely. Longer stays, like 28 nights or more, you might actually get lower fees for those. Airbnb likes longer stays because it's more stable, less turnover, so they kind of give hosts a little bonus for those.
Huh, interesting. I always figured longer stays meant more cleaning, more wear and tear on the place. But I guess Airbnb wants to encourage those longer bookings. Works out for everyone.
Exactly. You get it. It's all about understanding how Airbnb thinks and using that to your advantage.
So we've talked about the types of fees, but what about the big question? How do we actually get paid?
The moment of truth. Well, the good news is Airbnb's payout system is pretty smooth. Once a guest books your listing, Airbnb holds their payment until 24 hours after they check in. So they're like the middleman, making sure everything's good before releasing the funds.
No more chasing down payments or dealing with cash. Airbnb handles it all. What happens after that 24-hour wait? Does the money just magically appear in my account?
Not magic, but pretty simple. After 24 hours, Airbnb sends you your payout, minus the fees, of course. And they've got different payout methods like direct deposit, PayPal, even Western Union in some places.
So I've got choices. That's got to be helpful for people all over the world. But are all those payout methods the same? Anything I should keep in mind when I'm picking one?
Good question. The payout method you pick can actually affect how fast you get your money. Some are quicker than others, so do a little research and pick what works for you.
That's super important, especially if I'm counting on that Airbnb income for bills or something. Don't want to be waiting around for a payment.
Exactly. Got to stay on top of those details. We've talked a lot about the money side of things, but I want to talk about something else important: accessibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Making sure everyone feels welcome and comfortable. That's huge. What's Airbnb doing to make sure guests with disabilities have a good experience?
They've added features to make it easier to find accessible places. Like hosts can list specific features they have, things like step-free, entry-wide doorways, grab bars in the bathroom, even visual aids like fire alarms with flashing lights.
That's so important. Guests can actually find listings that work for them. No more surprises when you arrive.
Exactly. It makes things so much easier for everyone. But it's not just about checking boxes, it's about creating a welcoming space for everyone.
You're right. It's about more than just the basics. It's about making everyone feel welcome and respected. Is Airbnb doing anything else to promote accessibility?
Yeah, they're educating hosts about accessibility and giving them resources, helping them describe accessibility features and create a really welcoming environment. It's about going above and beyond.
It's great that they're putting so much effort into that. But beyond accessibility for individual guests, I think we should talk about the bigger impact of travel on the environment. What about the environmental impact of Airbnb?
That's a big question, and it's on a lot of people's minds. Airbnb knows that sustainable tourism is important, and they're trying to make their platform more eco-friendly.
That's good to hear. What are they actually doing?
One thing is they're trying to reduce energy consumption. They're encouraging hosts to use things like LED lighting, smart thermostats, and recycling bins.
Those little things can make a big difference when everyone does them.
Right. It all adds up. And they're promoting responsible waste management, too, trying to cut down on single-use plastics, encouraging reusable water bottles and coffee cups, and composting.
It's amazing how those small things can really add up.
Exactly. It's about changing how we think about things, moving away from disposable stuff and focusing on reusable things and less plastic.
It's great that they're not just talking about it, but actually doing something.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's up to all of us travelers and hosts to make good choices and protect the planet.
We've learned so much about Airbnb fees today. All those percentages, payouts, accessibility, sustainability. Feels like we really got to look behind the curtain.
Yeah, we definitely covered a lot of ground. Talking about all these different sides of Airbnb, it makes me think it's not just about finding a place to stay anymore. It's almost like a mini version of the world? It
Yeah,
shows how we're traveling differently and thinking differently about community.
totally agree. The whole sharing economy, wanting authentic experiences, thinking about our impact on the planet, all these things are changing how we travel, and Airbnb is right in the middle of it.
Exactly. It's pretty cool to see how those big trends are playing out on the platform, the good and the bad. We've seen how they affect everything from pricing to sustainability.
It's like Airbnb is this giant experiment that keeps changing, reflecting the world around us. But like any experiment, there can be some hiccups.
Hmm.
We've seen how figuring out fees and making sure things are accessible can be tricky for everyone.
For sure. And that's why it's so important to make informed decisions. Whether you're a host trying to make money or a guest looking for a good experience, understanding how Airbnb works is key.
Knowledge is power, right? And I think today we've given everyone listening some really useful tools to navigate Airbnb and feel confident. But beyond the practical stuff, I hope we've made everyone a little more curious about the platform and how it's shaping the future of travel.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into Airbnb fees, I want to encourage everyone listening to keep asking questions and looking at things from different angles. That's what makes travel so awesome and life in general.
Well said. Travel is all about trying new things, going outside your comfort zone, meeting new people, and seeing new places. And Airbnb, with all its good and bad parts, it offers a unique way to do that.
And hey, maybe we'll run into some of our listeners out there someday as fellow hosts, guests, or just fellow travelers.
That would be awesome. So to everyone out there who's interested in Airbnb, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep sharing your experiences with the world.
Until next time, may your travels be full of amazing moments, connections, and memories you'll never forget. And may your Airbnb adventures be both profitable and fun.
Thanks for listening, everyone.